We are live. Welcome to the RedBlue Pod. I hope guys and girls will enjoy. So it's RedBlue Pod number 18. Yes, this week we get two RedBlue Pod because Monday something came up and Cole wasn't around. So at least he's available today, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. Insomnia sucks. Yes. I don't know. Yeah. Yes. You already went through stuff with chill.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe what you could do is you could afterwards edit the two of them together. Hmm, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Well, actually, I think it will be fine because uh, we will say different things and do different stuff. So
Yeah, it's true.
I suggest we could start with a blazing saddles because among all of the topic of today, it's the one that speaks me the less. I'm just being honest here.
Yeah. No. That's fine. But yeah. Yeah. So this was a satire type of film, kind of comedy back in the 1974. And yeah, the original idea of it came from somebody else, with an original title called Black Bart, which after the film came out and gained notoriety, they tried doing like a TV show off of it and made a pilot episode called Black Bart with like the original actor and everything they were planning to begin with. Was poorly received though, so it didn't go any further than that. But yeah, this came out. Yeah, a lot of people liked it. It got 3 Oscar nominees: supporting actress, film editing, and original song, the opening there. And there's also a yeah, and it was by Mel Brooks, and he's pretty he is known for doing a lot of like satire films. Him and Monty Python are known for like being like making the best satire films out there in history. Apparently, I haven't seen all of his films, but yeah, he's more known for the producers, Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein, and then this. And yeah, this and Young Frankenstein both came out in the same year. Both got some Oscar noms, but yeah, they're both considered classics, I suppose. But yeah, so I watched this film a couple years ago. Yeah, with Gene Wilder in it. And yeah, I did like it a lot at first, but I didn't. I was still a little with it, but then I rewatched it, and me personally, I really loved it. I got I thought the jokes were pretty creative. A lot of the fourth wall breaking, and then they even broke the damn fifth wall, which was just like, what the fuck?
And they did it better than She-Hulk. I will say
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, I picked this film because basically, it's pretty edgy. We need that after the fucking bad woke humor of She-Hulk. Some edgy humor here, politically correct, and then also because as a comedy, this is visually and just everything, just like the opposite of what She-Hulk did. Actually, like creative and tried to do stuff, and yeah, this was pretty revolutionary for its time. Yeah, it did a lot with like racism actually and stuff. It, but yeah, there's absolutely loved it myself. There are a lot of creative jokes and everything in this. Great performances. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite comedies ever. And yeah, Jaded isn't probably won't show up, but yeah, he's really loves it too. Says it's one of the most underrated films ever. He said so. But yeah, so that's just me. But yeah, this is going into the basics there on the surface. But yeah, so what did you think about it? So you didn't like it as much. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your opinion. Very
So
curious.
as usual, I will start off my with my issues I had,
Mhm.
and at the end, I did think I took out on a bit more points because overall the issues I had some kind of bigger weight than usual. um, so the first thing I didn't like, there were too many musical scenes where characters start singing and doing weird stuff. I really don't like that kind of stuff. Um, it's something I always say in everything. We had musical crap in The Boys. We had musical crap in Jessica Jones. You know, like
I will say that me growing up, yeah, I hated a lot of like musical things and musical numbers. Now with this, I thought I was okay with it just because it was they were it was so funny to me, so I didn't care. But yeah, I completely understand that.
I still like the music they used throughout the movie, but when characters start dancing and singing, I'm like, no, 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 I am out. So the second issue I had, the overacting to be funny. I'm not the biggest fan of this way to deliver humor and funny stuff. I don't think it's funny. I just think it's a bit ridiculous, and I didn't really like that.
Ah,
Um,
yeah. Sorry, I was muted for a second. So yeah, I heard like yeah, you didn't really like the humor. Some of, but which ones exactly, or just all of it? You weren't a fan of it.
well, I can't remember where I said overacting, but I think it's something that happened a lot. Like they started
Mm,
screaming just to leave you that kind of impact.
yeah, I mean, for me, I thought it was just like again, every actor in this was just like completely satirical, like like sort of like making fun of like spaghetti, exaggerated westerns, and then also racism and everything. I thought it kind of has like a mix of goofy humor and then and dumb humor and then smart humor, like kind of mixes it all together. Personally, yeah, really hit for me, but yeah, I mean, it's not gonna hit for everybody. Definitely, like I know definitely a lot of people who reacted to it who thought it was kind of like a little say rough, like a little tough, to get into like with the mood, but yeah.
Yeah. Now the next issue, farting jokes didn't age well. Like at some point they all start farting, and it's supposed to be funny. I was like, oh
I well,
my.
you see, with that, I will say, so any other movie, I would agree with you. I mean, it's not funny or anything really, besides like the rare film. But here's the thing: Blazing Saddles was actually this is quite a revolutionary film in a lot of areas and stuff that did, and I'm glad you brought that up because now I can talk about it. That's actually the first film ever that did that type of thing. So,
I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing.
yeah, well,
Because
yeah, like it purposely they purposely did that to make the audience like watch it in the theater feel awkward. They even upped the volume to really get it going. Like again, this film like mocks the audience and does stuff to really annoy them purposely. That's the
it,
other thing.
I guess. Um, yeah, that wasn't a good scene. Musical again. So I guess there's another scene where people start dancing and singing. I'm like, man, again, I go through this pain again. Yeah, I didn't like that. Now, the last issue I had, the villain fell for the fake city. I think it's stupid, like in 2000, because look, you know where the city is. You should know it's not the true one because it's not at the same place. I think it
Yeah,
was.
well, that was kind of like the point of it though. Like it's so ridiculous for them to fall for it.
I mean, okay, so your villain are now diminished into mean to laugh. Okay.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of like was the whole film. Like every character in this basically, besides like the two main characters, are just like idiots, and even
Yeah.
to an extent, those two as well are kind of.
Yeah. Now I'm done with the issues. I think I will now mention my few likes. And usually when I really enjoy a movie, when I'm very invested, I have much more notes in what I liked. but
Mhm.
here it was quite limited.
Uh,
So
fine, it's understandable.
I did like the racist joke. They were very funny, and I feel like in 2022 there is no way in hell they will have the balls to have that many racist jokes.
Oh no, they would take so offense to it. Like, oh god, how dare there be a film with racist characters saying racist things in the old time? That's a satire about racism. They say you can't say the M word in any context.
Yeah,
Bad.
and it's sad because you take out like something that can end up being very funny, and you also tell the anti-woke the anti-woke they are part right on some of the things they say, because movies aren't as good anymore because they don't take any more risk, because agenda, because everything need to follow like the formula, you know.
Yeah,
You don't want to get canceled, and to
yeah.
some extent,
Sadly.
I understand that, but I also find that really ridiculous because that's just placing useless weight on creativity. And creativity is what makes stuff good. So I feel like if we keep going this way, entertainment will become worse and worse until people realize, guys and girls, we need to change the way we think. Because if we keep going this way, nothing will be entertaining anymore, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
That's not for nothing that video games is more appealing for people because it's not there yet. Um, so yeah, with that big social rant, let's move on with my other stuff I liked. I
Yeah.
marked down funny a lot, so I had a lot of fun, laugh, smile, everything, and it's crazy because I've seen so many funny stuff. Like in my first line, there's like four funny in a row. So there's lots of scene and sequence I found funny and entertaining. Um, and this is something to tell to Shield. Look, all you needed to do is go watch some comedy and understand how to make comedy. It's not that hard.
Hmm.
If they were able to do comedy in 1982, was it the year that movie
Oh no,
came?
no, it's 1974, and yeah, this was pretty revolutionary. Like in just like every like aspect, kind of it tackled with racism, and also this was one of the first like satirical films that in this style. Like this was before Monty Python and the Holy Grail and stuff.
So yeah, Shield had so many blueprints to follow, but they didn't
Hmm.
give a crap because they only
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
they
laugh
just
at the
want to get
trolls.
paid.
They also really wanted to laugh at the troll because they had so much hatred toward the trolls, and I'm like, okay, uh, you hate people that critique your stuff, so you maybe do better stuff in the future, and you make your entire show about that. It's like, okay.
Hmm.
Uh, church scene. I actually forgot the church scene, but since
Yeah, there were a few church scenes. It's like the first one was like after they got like yeah, those they all came in to try to like yeah, just beating everyone up and stuff to try to make them leave. And then they were having that council meeting and with the like the homeless guy or whatnot, or the drunk, and they're like, yeah, we'll stay. And then they throw the dynamite in there. And then
yeah,
the
that's
other one was like
probably
after
this
the
one.
sheriff shows up.
Yeah, that's probably this one. Look, my likes are in order usually. Sometimes I get them switched, but I think that was one of
Yeah.
the first few scenes in the church, right?
Oh yeah, it's one of the first scenes. Yeah, there were like two main church scenes. It was that, and then he shows up in the town, and then there's another one.
So I liked it a lot. Now the governor, I will be honest. Um, I didn't add him in the dislikes, but I almost placed him there by the end of the movie. At first, he came off as really funny, but at the end of the movie, I was like, when I've seen him like two or three times, I'm like, That character again. Okay, whatever. It's not the actor's fault. I think it's just the writing of the character. I think it was too over the top for me. And I was like, yeah, that's the purpose of it. That's why the first time I kind of liked it. But the more I see that guy around, the less I like and enjoy what he's doing.
Hmm.
Um, After that, we have funny. So I guess we had a lot of sketches around. Uh, the characters are likable in general so far in the entire movie. Uh, that's very interesting. I also like the backstory of the other police guy. Um,
Hmm.
it was funny. The sheriff was also very funny. Funny again. The shooting. There was a shooting scene, right?
Yeah, where they like show up and try to kill him.
Yeah. I like that scene a lot. Uh,
Yeah.
then I marked down funny again. And then
Hmm.
cafeteria. This is when everything went nuts and they broke the fifth wall at the end. I quite
Yeah.
enjoyed that a lot. I did think it was funny, and I also like the ending. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, that's pretty much it. So usually I have much more stuff I liked in
Yeah,
movies.
you didn't really go into like detail this time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also far away from me. Like Monday, it's just 2 days ago, but I've seen lots of things since then, and I moved on to other stuff. Like
Uh,
um, when it's what I consider a forgettable movie, it's harder for me to remember stuff. Uh, Now I will say this: it's not the worst movie I've seen, but it's not the best one either. And among the one you suggested, I think this one is not the worst. I still think
mhm.
The Lighthouse was the one that did speak to me the less. Even if I was
Uh,
seeing The Vision, I still think so far it's the movie I connected the less.
hmm.
But I think this one would be second after The Lighthouse.
That's understandable. See,
Um,
this is the great thing. Different opinions, people. Wow. There's the She-Hulk, fucking writers crying. Some
and
people don't like her show. No.
that's interesting because you see we still get along well, and I enjoy a lot having you on the channel,
Yeah.
and we get along well. So that's the
Yeah.
difference between us, normal people, and people from Hollywood. Because I do think in
Oh yeah.
Hollywood, most of them are taking the same way, and that's why it has become toxic there. Because they all agrees with each other. So when people from outside speak about their stuff, it's like you're doing a crime right now. You hurt our feelings because we are used to always agree on everything.
Yeah. This- God.
So they are
It's so weak.
they are like disconnected from reality, and
Yeah,
it's
basically, God, it's just like if you step outside off of Twitter, like nobody acts like that.
and that's funny because I'm barely on Twitter. Look, Twitter for me is a mean to like speak to
Yeah.
others, like you, film, and sometimes I do enjoy Faded a lot. His content on Twitter is my favorite, but outside of that, I'm not really there. I don't give a crap about there. Um, so yeah, I think this movie for me, it's a 7 out of 10, but it's a 7. Like, it's not as good as Incendie. It's not as good as what other I gave it 7. I actually forgot the others. I remember giving other sevens here and there,
Okay,
but
you gave, I believe it was, yeah, I actually forgot. Yeah, you did give Insondies a 7. Yeah, well, you gave Dune a 7.5, but, yeah, I mean,
yeah, I like
mm,
more Incendie. Incendie was better for me.
yeah.
What would be the grade you would give to Blazing Saddles?
Well, for me, this is a 9 out of 10. I really love this. again, the humor was just like, for me personally, it really hit. This is, I tell you, it's the perfect mix in my opinion of like of edgy, goofy, like smart, dumb comedy, all mixed together, and that visually amazingly done, well acted, revolutionary for its time in a lot of areas. Yeah, breaking the fourth wall, breaking the fifth wall, and then yeah, it's just a well-made film, well acted, well directed, everything. Yeah, this film just really hit for me. Also, said something in DMs here to show you. Yeah, so this happened in the scene during the client when they broke the fifth wall. This random guy walked on set in the film. Sh-
I've just seen it. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So sadly, yeah, the one lead actor, I believe, yeah, he passed away like around 20 years later from stomach diseases. I believe stomach cancer. And yeah, Gene Wilder passed away. I believe. Yeah, it was like 6 years ago he passed away. So surprisingly, out of the director and like the main actors in this film, the director is the one who's still alive out of all of them, and he's like 97 years old.
Wow.
And
That's
he has
old.
a yeah, and he has another film in production. He took like a 15 or 20 year break from making films. His last film, he still voice acted and all that, and was appeared in other films. But yeah, his last film he directed was in 1995, and but yeah, he has another one in development right now. So hopefully that comes out before he passes away. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, he's made a lot of films. He's considered, yeah, kind of a legend. But yeah, I didn't. With,
So
with the other ones, yeah, I'm not gonna recommend them, because I will say with the other ones you need, they're kind of sad. A lot of them are they're either not as like well received, or I haven't seen them yet, or they're films where you kind of need to like watch a lot of other films to understand. Like Young Frankenstein, you need to watch all the like the 1930s, 1940s monster films to understand all the jokes. And same thing with Silent Movie, and then Spaceballs. You need to watch like Star Trek, Star Wars, all those.
wow.
So yeah, so this is the only one and I
So
recommend from, yeah, just because you didn't need to. But yeah.
out of 10, how much?
Sorry, what's that?
What would you give out of 10 with this movie?
Oh
Based
yeah,
on
no, 9
7.
out of 10. I said. Not
9.
well, 9.5. I'll give.
9.5? Oh, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. So,
Yeah, this is the second best satire film of all time, in my opinion. The first being Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So, me
that's good.
personally, yeah.
So, uh, anything else to add before we move to Black Adams?
No, that's about it. Yeah, we can move on. So, Black Adam. Oh,
Okay, before we go any deeper with that, I will say this because I found that very interesting and funny. I had more issues than Chillmonger about Black Adam. However, our final score was exactly the same, even if I had more issues. So I was kind of
yeah.
surprised because I'm like, we actually liked it the same way, but I just found more issues.
Well, that happens sometimes. Like for example, I gave Gotham. Well, yeah, we just have different rating systems, so sometimes it can like level out. Like I know I've given a movie or a TV show episode a rating, and yeah, oh yeah, it was The Boys. I gave it like a 7 or something, like season 3 or season 2. And you gave it the same score, but a 7 out of 10 means a lot lower to you than it does to me, because I consider 7 out of 10s. My ratings are kind of like hard. So like I consider a 6 out of 10 as the good section, and then
Yeah.
5 out of 10 average, and then 7 great, 8 excellent, 9 amazing, 10 masterpiece. So, which is I rarely hand out. So yeah, it sometimes happens like that, or we give different grades, but we mean the same thing. Like Gotham, so yeah, season 1 was kind of like just competent or mediocre around that, despite things I liked. I gave it like a 5 out of 10 or something, and then you gave it like or a 4.5 or 5, and you gave it like a 6 or a 7, but you said it's mediocre. So,
Yeah.
it's just it kind of works like that. But
For
yeah.
for
So
me, 6 is mediocre. A 7, it's
yeah,
average. It's like 7.
yeah. I mean, the
It's
reason that why I think of it like that is because a 6 out of 10 is pretty much the equivalent of like 3 out of 5.
yeah,
So yeah, now the reason I think people do that is because of like the school grades. They have it where it's like 70% and higher is a pass, and everything else is no. But I mean, I like to think of it more like the 50% mark instead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So, Black Adam, what did you think of the movie?
Oh, okay. I'll say, it was watchable. It was a movie. I had a enjoyable time watching it, at least, just watching Dwayne Johnson, do Dwayne Johnson things and some action. But yeah, I thought this was really rough film for me personally. Because I like just having a film like this, like, and how it's executed. Well, no, I like having a film like this, and like what the idea they were going for with this. I just thought the execution, yeah, it was, I thought it was really, really poor. I mean, first thing first, let's just start with the casting. Besides like one character, the older actor in the group, the one standout, I wasn't a huge fan of the cast. Dwayne Johnson, I mean, he's, I think he's best when he's like paired with somebody else in like a duo in a film, but yeah, I don't think he's a leading man, and this still, he didn't have to do much, so it worked though. He wasn't like bad in this, but he wasn't great either. He just did his job enough, and is just like a recognizable enough name where he sells tickets. But I mean, it's just I was kind of I didn't like how they didn't try to really make him look more like black, like give him a bit of hair and like put some prosthetic ears on him. Like it wouldn't have taken away from like selling the movie to people with it being Dwayne Johnson on the poster. But yeah, and then the rest of the cast for the most part, like yeah, wasn't a huge fan of them. They were like they cast a lot of really weak actors. Like the one guy who like transforms into like a giant, like Noah
Atom
Centino,
Smasher.
whatever. Yeah, what? Yeah, Adam Smasher. Yeah, I'm just trying to say the actor's name. I don't know, but yeah, the actor. God, before this, all he's done. He's a young actor, and they start out with those films, so I don't want to give him like too much shit. But He has done nothing in his career before this, besides just like teen rom-com films, basically,
Yeah.
and not just teen rom-com films, some of the worst ever. Like he was the lead in this film called Swiped, which was a rom-com film, about like a dating app for like young teens. And yeah, it's the lowest rated film on Letterboxd and one of the lowest rated films on IMDb and everything. And he is gets absolutely shit on by critics and everyone in every film. And I watched this film, and he wasn't trash like in those, like he's a young actor, maybe he's improving a bit, and once he's like away from those shitty films, which are making him shit as well, but he was still bad in this as well. He's just no, just uh, and then yeah, the writing, I thought, like, again, a lot of people are like, okay, doesn't matter about the writing and all that. What matters is, it's a Black Adam film. Just watch him kick ass, and it's like, okay, sure, but when like 70 or like 80% of your film still it revolves around like the writing, character talking, conversation, all that stuff, the story and all that. And it's an important aspect to every film, like fucking film writing.
Yeah.
And it still needs to be at least competent. And I thought the writing was just a fucking mess here, outside of certain parts. And then the how the film was made as well, I thought was I am not actually outside of the odd film like The Shallows. I actually don't mind this director. I think he's done some good films before, like Orphan, and this other one he did, which let me try to remember which that was. Yeah, he did Orphan. Yeah, John Colette Sarah. He did Orphan. And yeah, Jungle Cruise. I thought Jungle Cruise was actually all right. So it was another Dwayne Johnson film. But yeah, this was this one though. Yeah, he definitely failed here. The directing was just off. The color palette and visuals outside of certain scenes was ugly and just blurry and just like not well, not good cinematography and everything. Just really a mess there. Uh, and the editing is terrible. It has terrible editing for me. Uh, and so yeah, it was just a sloppily made film there in that aspect. Like again, people say this stuff about the Godzilla films as well. They're like, I don't care about all this stuff. I just want to see some monsters fight. And it's like, okay, but if you spent 80% of the film on the human characters, then it needs to be good, at least competent, and also the cinematography and directing and stuff can't be sloppy with an ugly, barely visible color palette on it, or else like, God, or else it's just it fails, and that's what happened with like King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs Kong. Although I do think Godzilla 2014 did a good job with it actually, but yeah, and I thought it kind of failed here. The lighting was also pretty bad. And yeah, and the action, I really kind of hated the first trailer for this that they showed, but the second trailer for Black Adam, I actually was kind of into, and the action scenes they showed with the other characters and stuff, I thought looked entertaining and enjoyable. And yeah, I got half of the film I think was that, but then the other half I think kind of flopped. Like, yeah, I don't know. Overall, I wasn't the biggest fan of this. It's watchable, it's enjoyable, but yeah, it's kind of a mess for me. It was really rough, but I mean, definitely a watchable popcorn flick though that kind of does its job for the most part for general audiences. But yeah, and then that reveal at the end, I mean, it was already spoiled, but yeah, I mean, as long as Zack Snyder stays far away from DC, I'm okay with giving Henry Cavill another chance. Although there are definitely, I mean, hundreds of actors they could have got him for that would be better, but I'm willing to give him another chance. So yeah. Uh, so what are your thoughts on it now?
Okay, this one is really weird for me because you see, usually, um, when my issues are really long and they take lots of space, I hate the movie. But here's the thing: my many issues with this movie didn't make me hate the movie because what I liked, even if it's a small number of things, it outweighs the rest. And it's a really weird case because let's be honest, they don't do that much unique. Like, it's filled of tropes, and I will say this: I was entertained, and most of my likes just repeat themselves over and over again. So I feel like I have less things I liked than things I didn't like. But I like the movie a lot. That's what's really weird about that movie. So I will start off with my very long issues because I got
Yeah, I mean,
issues.
it is an enjoyable film. It's definitely entertaining still. It's
So
Dwayne Johnson kicking ass, I guess. So
issue number one, Hawkman until the third act. I hated the guts of this character. I was like, man, that character is godly awful. I Don't know why he is leader because let's be honest, Dr. Fate would have been a better pick for the leader of the GSA, and if Augment is the leader, it's only for the plot to work. Because if Dr.
Yeah,
Fate was in charge,
yeah.
uh,
And Doctor Fate was probably the best actor in this.
yeah, I agree on that. I mean, Augment was very terrible for me until the third act. I do think the third act kind of redeemed Augment for me, but that's the funny thing here. When I did speak with Killmonger, he said Hawkman and Black Adam were his favorite characters. So I was kind of surprised because, like, Hawkman, I did think he was really bad until the third act. So I was like, wow, 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 wow. You like Hawkman. Okay. Um, Now, to elaborate more on Hawkman, the biggest example of me disliking his guts is stupidity is just plot device to find the crown. So basically, the entire GSA went against Black Adam, and guess what? They lost because he is a freaking god. And now Hawkman thinks it's a good idea to fight Black Adam again on his own, while Doctor Fate is basically drinking his tea. So I was like, man, that's just ridiculous. Like Augment asked to die or something, but suddenly it's very convenient because during his fight against Black Adam, they break a wall and they find the crown. You know, I was like, wow, how convenient. That plot convenience is terrible. If Altman wasn't that stupid, the crown would have stood hidden and the villain would never have found it. So I was like, man, that's some weak writing, bro. That's weak writing there. Okay, next issue. Too many characters, and I will go further with this. I only cared about Black Adam and Doctor Fate. Uh, and I will go even further with this. Cyclone, I have nothing against her. I think the actress was fine, but she wasn't needed. She is filler character. It's like, okay, Atom Smasher, another filler character. Take the kids out, and guess what? The movie still works very well. And here again, this is very interesting because Killmonger liked both character, and he also found a way to defend Cyclone reason of being in the movie. Her using text and stuff by the end and helping out understanding the crown. So I was like, oh, okay, just because of that, you changed my mind about Cyclone. Can you change my mind about Atom Smasher? No, he could not. Because Atom Smasher was just comic relief. He wasn't a
and
good
he's
character.
a garbage actor. I'm sorry.
And it's sad because, like, when we think about solo movies, I'm like, okay, let's pick all the people in this movie. Will I get a Atom Smasher? If they do one, I will not see it because I don't give a crap about it. If we do a Cyclone solo movie, I will not watch it because I don't give a crap about it again. If we do a Jesse movie with Altman as the lead actor, I actually don't know because for most of the movie it was really annoying. I didn't like at all the character, but the third act kind of redeemed it. So maybe I will maybe give a shot to a Jesse movie if they have Augment in it. Um, Doctor Fate, I will get anytime a solo movie with him. Pierce Brosnan did good job as Doctor Fate. I like Doctor Fate a lot. He elevated the movie a lot for me. Yeah, he basically carried the movie on his shoulders. Okay. Like the kid, man, the kid and his family, they are just there for exposition. They are just there to represent the country where they are. They are not really full-fledged character. They are just there to like connect Black Adam to like the people and the GSA, and I'm not the biggest fan of them, and they feel more like plot device than character of their own. And it's very sad about that because there's a lot of focus on them. Like at some point, the kid is only a reason. Do you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah. You
Uh,
you just cut off there for a second, but yeah, I
yeah,
hear you
my
now.
mic did weird stuff. Um. Anyway. Yeah. So what I was saying is the kid. It was only there to give a common enemy to Black Adam and the GSA. And I was like, okay, I guess that's fine. It's about time they team up, you know, but that was predictable, and I still like the action a lot. Big fan of the action. Now, um, next big issue. The third act left mixed feeling for me. It felt like the writer wanted to fill the screen time. The movie could have ended with Black Adam being in jail. Now, I still think the third act was weird. Because, as I said, they could have ended the movie earlier and it could have made sense. But here's the good thing about the third act. Dr. Fate sacrifice Dr. Fate's sacrifice was emotional. I had emotion. I felt something. I I liked this fight against the big bad. And here again, Chillmonger said it was just Doctor Strange number 2, and I can understand where he's coming from. But I do think this fight was better because of the emotions in it. Like in Infinity War, that was a Thanos movie, and in Infinity War, you're like Doctor Strange is just that obstacle Thanos need to overcome, and in this movie, it's very different. Doctor Strange purpose, or I should say, Doctor Fate, basically, he wants to save his friend, and he will sacrifice himself to save his friend. So the emotion is there. There's something to feel about that scene and that fight. You're like, the main character is Dr. Fate, and he knows he will die, but he will still do it for his friend. So it was emotional for me. I had tears because I was like, man, that guy's a badass, and like he will die there for his friend, man. And it's interesting because usually when you have that kind of friendship where someone sacrificed himself, you need many movies to set it up. And I think they did set up the friendship well with one movie. Now, I'm pretty sure that scene would have been better if there were other movies before where you get to know more about Dr. Fate and Altman. Um, Yeah, that was. I think that was my favorite scene in the entire movie. Just Doctor Fate against a CG bad villain, and that was just great for me. I liked it so much, and it's sad because it's the worst part of the movie in my own opinion.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
uh,
that was at least entertaining, yeah.
and now the next thing that kind of saved the third act for me, Hulkman character was redeemed.
Hmm.
He wanted to save his friend. He didn't want Dr. Fate to die. And he was willing to die for Dr. Fate. And you could see Ant-Man struggle. He was smashing through the shield because he really wanted to save Dr. Fate. And I was like, will he make it? Will he make it? Will he end up sacrificing himself to save Dr. Fate? And when he is able to enter Dr. Fate, drop on the floor, and he dies. And like that was just great. Um, Ant-Man then decides to work with Black Adam because he realized, look, my friend sacrificed himself to free you from your jail, so maybe we should work together. And it's the first point where I feel like Altman makes sense, because for once he realized he cannot really beat Black Adam and he needs Black Adam. And if Dr. Fate believed in Black Adam, maybe he should believe in Black Adam as well. And that's the scene where I was like, okay, that's cool. And seeing Altman using the helmet to like clone himself was also cool. I liked it a lot. Yeah, that third act saved Altman for me. Um, Even if the third act was weak, it saved him. Now, the next really big issue I had with this third act, the kid and his speech, the city being empowered, felt like a bad trope and was too cheesy for me. Arrow season 4 vibe. Now I say that because Arrow season 4 was the worst Arrow season, and at the end, people of the city fight the bad guys, and the bad guys had guns, but because the strip wanted them to drop the guns, they all drop the guns and they all go into a fist fight. So that's what I have in mind when I think about that slugfest where the city fight CG monsters. I was like, man, that's trash. I will be honest there. That's not good. That's just not good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's it for my issues with the movie. Now, as I said, for once, I liked a movie where my issues take more space than my likes. So I will go over my likes. The action, I liked the action a lot. It was entertaining.
Yeah,
Um,
that's again, that's the best part of the film, the action scenes. Despite what I said about like the filmmaking, technical stuff, and all that stuff, like the action was still fun. It was they did whoever that thought of the action choreography, knew how to make it fun and like make him look badass. I mean, outside of like a couple moments, I say where they went a little too cartoonish with it, but that's about it.
I also liked a lot the first fight between Black Adam and Jesse. That was a great
Oh yeah.
fight to tell us, look, Black Adam is really strong. He's on another level, and I like that showcase, and that was really cool. I also think there were a lot of funny scenes, funny dialogue, and that was a funny movie, I think, in a lot of scenes. Um, it was entertaining. Dr. Fate carried the movie on his shoulders with Black Adam. I do think them together was great. They did a great job for me to care about the story, what was going on. And I also liked Black Adam backstory a lot. So you're led to believe he's the kid, but then the reveal is he's not a kid, he's the father of the kid, and the kid sacrificed himself for the father. And that was great and unexpected. They
Yeah,
did subvert
unfortunately, they
expectations.
spoiled it in the fucking trailer for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, my son sacrificed me to save my life, and showing the scene. I'm just like,
I
okay,
actually forgot about that. I've seen both trailer, and I actually
yeah, but
forgot about that.
yeah, sadly, dumb stuff like that sticks in my memory. Where it's like I see something and I'm like, uh, uh, and I'm like, I'll try to forget about it when I see the film, so I go into it fresh. But then I say that in my mind, so then it purposely sticks in my mind just to piss me off, and that was one of them. Yeah, yeah. Sadly, when you go to the theater, there's no way to skip trailers potentially spoiling shit. I sometimes literally have to like close my eyes and cover my ears during some trailers, which I yeah, because Jesus fuck, some of them spoil a lot of the film. But yeah, that didn't spoil much of the film. Just it showed off enough. But yeah, I did reveal that, so it wasn't a twist for me. But yeah, I mean that's why I try not to watch trailers before seeing films.
So I said everything I liked and everything I disliked. Now, with that being said, what would be your grade of the movie?
I'll be honest, it fails for me, but it's at least watchable. But yeah, this is I'm gonna give it a for now a 3.5 out of 10. Maybe I'll be more
Okay, I
yeah,
see.
maybe on it, and yeah, again, not again. I just thought it was bad, or like even though it was watchable and entertaining enough in that aspect, and as like a blockbuster popcorn flick, it was just on every level, the storytelling, writing, technical stuff, filmmaking, acting, etc. Like I just thought it. There were some moments, but for the most part, it failed as hard as like Thor: Love and Thunder for me. But it is better. It is better than stuff like Thor: Love and Thunder, and She-Hulk. So I will say that for sure, though, and it is definitely still enjoyable. But maybe on a later date, I'll like be more easy with. Maybe I'll up it to like a 4 out of 10, which would make it more of like passable, as in like maybe I'll like rewatch it time to time because that's the 4 out of 10 mark for me. But anything below that is that, yeah. But for now, it's a 3.5 out of 10.
Okay. Um, my score was much higher than yours. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I figure because you said Blazing Saddles was your least favorite and you give it a 7, so I'm like, okay, it has to at least be a 7.5.
Yeah,
So this is interesting. Our ratings so far have been pretty different. I gave this a lower rating and you gave this a higher rating, and then the opposite on the last film. So yeah, wow. Wait, we have different opinions. Why aren't we ripping each other apart? That's what Twitter told us to do.
I think it's because we are normal human beings.
All right, yes, we have a brain, right? Oh.
Yeah, 8 out of 10, and it's the first time I have more space dedicated to dislikes than likes, and I actually like a lot of the movie. That's what I
Yeah,
said earlier. Like,
yeah.
it's a
They,
weird
they did
one.
at least get the badass part of this of his character in the film, right? They
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least got
yeah.
the
Just
cool
dropping
aspect.
bodies left and right. I liked it
Yeah.
so much, bro. It's like that thing is amazing. It's not your typical superhero movie just because the guy is laughing when he's killing people. It feels like Deadpool, you know?
Yeah.
So, um anything else to add uh about
No,
that one?
that's about it. I mean, all I'll say is that yeah, I mean, all I'll say is, I mean, even though I wasn't a fan of this, if DC needs to release more films like this that are of this quality to get the universe moving a bit more, because they're so many years behind, I'm
Yeah.
okay with it because Marvel definitely isn't perfect at all, and especially the recent phase has just been shit outside of like one or two films. So yeah, just as as long as you just don't give up on it and keep going with it, and then the payoff will happen. That's what happened with the MCU. The first Thor and Captain America and stuff. While they were definitely all right or solid, they definitely weren't a bit generic, not great, and definitely some other films that were but I mean, they stuck with it though. They didn't give up just because there was like one or two bad films, as DC did with the Suicide Squad 1 and BVS. But so yeah, just keep rolling with this, and then yeah, there'll be other stuff like that James Gunn does, but and
Yeah,
hopefully, yeah, I'm really excited for Shazam 2 though, because
me
again, I
too.
thought the first one was my favorite in out of the DC EU films.
Yeah.
I would say that, and then the Suicide Squad second, and then after that, it's kind of a shit show. I don't know.
I like
Maybe
Wonder
Wonder
Woman a
Woman
lot.
third.
I like
I mean,
Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
I thought it was all right. It's but I have a lot of issues with it that other people don't. But I do think that was definitely a competent or okay film. Definitely probably the third best. But I do have issues with it. I think people tend to not bring up a lot of the issues with it, and they gave it some leeway at the time just because they wanted a Wonder Woman film for so many years, and they finally got it, and they at least got like the, I would say, the heart of it right. Even
Yeah.
but and you know, and the chemistry with her and Chris Pine was really good, and yeah, they thought the actress would suck, which she then eventually did in the Injustice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League and Wonder Woman 84 and every other film. But still, in the first, she fit the character and got the charisma right and was good there at least, and other aspects. So I do think people gave it a leeway when it came to like the story and a lot of the writing issues and just being very safe. I think, and kind of like screaming shit out loud to the audience, some bad visual effects in areas where it's like she's just like jumping into a green screen. Yeah, I don't know, but that's just me. But yeah,
So, I think we can move on to Werewolf by Night because I did
yeah,
see it for Monday stream, and
yeah. Now I don't have much to say about Werewolf by Night, but and you already talked about with Chill, so I don't know
yeah,
if you want, unless you
maybe
didn't.
I'm more curious about what would be your score about Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, I'll be okay. So with Werewolf by Night, yeah, basically I don't have much to say about it. I'll leave it short because yeah, this topic was more something that for chill, to dive into. Now I
Yeah.
did enjoy this, but I don't have too much to say about it. Like when it comes to like listen off all the positive, negatives, the story, and everything. All I have to say is that this definitely wasn't perfect, and my main issue would be that I said it before many times. For them to try to get this old style feel, campy feel, nostalgic feel of like these monster films and stuff, like they tried to.
Yeah.
They did. He did a fairly good job, and again, he's always done before this was like a Star Trek episode for one of the new shows, and in this comedic short film with some celebrities. That's it. This guy has directed nothing else. This is his like first thing ever, basically. But he's a legendary composer. He has like 5 Oscar nominees, and yeah, so definitely the music was spot on there, and they gave him a chance with that and everything. And yeah, he did a good job. So I hope he gets more work in the future. He definitely has potential, to move to more a directing area as well, as we've seen from other people, like the guy who did Last and First Men, which was pretty excellent, but then sadly passed away. So it's his only one. But another composer, but yeah, but here's the thing. My main issue, though, and this is the a big issue with I have with it, and really my main thing and one of the only ones. It's that to get that feel of it, the campy old feel, everything I listed off. This is way too overproduced.
Yeah.
This is like just no. You need to get a more of a cinematography feel, not just regular black and white. You need to have some effects and stuff. Use some old equipment. That's what the Lighthouse did, and that's why it worked so effectively. You can have some like effects in the footage as well. Yeah, the production design was overproduced. Like it was more like fucking like that Coen Brothers film, the tragedy of Macbeth, like that fancy made instead of something that should be more like cryptic and a bit rusty feel in areas and makeup and everything. I just think like, yeah, I definitely think he kind of failed in that aspect. It still looked good and everything, but it just it didn't work for that to get that tone though that he needed to really like up at another level. It's sort of like that fucking the Matrix 4, that terrible film, where it's like they tried to do the video game aspect, and it was set in like the early 2000s or late 1990s, but then you look at the video game they're making and it's like something that would be made in like 2030, but it's set in like an older time like that. So it's like, shouldn't you be using like older video games stuff, sort of like the early Tomb Raider games were in that quality. But yeah, again, a lot of filmmakers don't care about going that extra knot, with film. Sadly, they don't care about detail like that. But outside of that, though, yeah, this was really fun. This was really creative. I really admire it. And I hope they do more specials like this, and give more directors like this a chance. No harm, no foul. This is one of the better and more unique things the MCU has done in a while and in this phase, because even though I enjoyed like Spider-Man No Way Home and stuff, and one other, they weren't really that are unique or anything or original. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
What would be the grade?
I would give it a 6 out of 10. So that'd be good.
That's very funny. You know why?
Is that your rating? Or actually, no, it can't be because yeah.
It's in between me and Chillmonger.
Ah.
Like the perfect one. Guess who gave a 8 to that one?
Well, I'm gonna guess because you said Blazing Saddles was your lowest rated. Then I'm gonna guess you did, and Chill gave it a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's shocking here because Chillmonger is more a Marvel guy than me.
Yeah. Damn, that's shocking. But
My biggest issue that really dragged down a lot is the sword fight between the super powered girl against the guy. I mean, she has super strength, but they don't tell you she has super strength.
yeah. God,
Dude.
that was kind of funny. Yeah. It definitely wasn't perfect, but yeah, I think it did its job.
And the villain were bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave 8 out of 10. Um, it was better than Saddle. So, next topic. Stargirl episode 7.
Yeah. Again, my memory bad on this one. I watched it like 5 days ago or something, and because of a bunch of shit, or even 6 days ago, or I don't know, but because of a bunch of shit, yeah, I barely remember it now. So for this, you're gonna have to really carry me on this one. But all I'll say is, yeah, just like all the others, definitely enjoyed it. This is such a surprisingly awesome season of a show so far. Like again, I like the first two seasons, but I just consider them good. But yeah, this they really upped their game now on this. This is pretty
Yeah.
shockingly awesome. But yeah,
So,
from my memory, yeah, it wasn't. I don't. It's not one of my favorite episodes, but yeah, it was again really good still. Yeah, I mean, what did you think about it? I mean, I'm guessing
you
you
know,
liked it.
yeah, I liked it a lot. You know, it's very funny because usually, like, Wednesday, we used to watch She-Hulk and then Stargirl. Stargirl was like the cure to the disease, you know? This week, there was no She-Hulk. So Wednesday, I actually forgot Stargirl was on. and
Jesus.
and then I arrive home, I go to sleep because I'm night shift, so when I come home, I just sleep. I woke up and I see in my recommended video on YouTube, I see review for episode 7 of Stargirl, and I'm like, oh, I have not seen it yet. So I basically have seen the movie, the episode, I should say. I have seen it on Thursday instead of Wednesday, and that was funny. That's like the little backstory there. I almost forgot to watch it because there's no She-Hulk this week. Okay. With that being said, um, I had this week one single issue, and that issue is Yolanda Mother. She is just a plot device. She doesn't feel like a character, and she has no growth since season 1. She remained the same. I really don't like Yolanda
Yeah.
Mother. and her only purpose in the show was to kick Yolanda out of home, so she goes at Courtney, and they will probably use that as a device to fix their relationship. I'm fine with that, but I don't like the mother. The
Yeah,
mother,
I never liked the mother. They they didn't really ever bring anything to like, I don't know. She was kind of just always there. That's definitely probably like the never brought it up, but yeah, that's definitely probably like the weakest character in the whole show right now.
she didn't change. Look, sometime
And
when you,
she's just there. That's
yeah,
all.
like sometime in shows, like in season one, you have this character or that character, and they are kind of weak, but then they give material to that character in other seasons, and they kind of fix the issue with the character. With Yolanda Mother, they didn't do anything so far. Eh. Sorry about that. And that's very sad because you know they can write good character and story arc because this season is all about changing character, changing dynamic between characters. So they know they can do it. They know how to do it. They just don't do it with Yolanda Mother because they don't know how to. And the idea of the mother is good, but it feels like a trope, and it doesn't move away from that trope. So that's my really big issue with that. Um, with that being said, this episode was a blast. I liked it a lot, just like the other weeks. It's somewhere like in the middle for me because I know I like this episode more than the sixth one just based on the score, and based on the score it's also on the same level as other previous episode. It's also better than the third episode, so it's somewhere in the middle. uh, Now, the opening scene where we get to meet the brother was fine, but uh, the brother having a lover, a guy basically in love with him. Look, the lover, if he comes back and he has a weight to the story, I'm fine with him. But if that was the only time we were seeing the boyfriend of the brother, I'm like, what was the point? Virtue signal, you know? Is the lover, is the boyfriend a character that will impact the story later on? If the boyfriend will impact the story later on, it's good. I want that. I really want the boyfriend to impact the story later. But if he was just there to show uh, the orientation of the brother, there was no point for that. And I really don't care about relationship. And it's the same thing for every single show. So right now, I like the brother, but his boyfriend and his relationship may impact my opinion of the brother later on in the show if they don't find any good use for the boyfriend. Um, the flashbacks where they tell again the scene where Jenny is living her foster home, that was really interesting. I liked it a lot. We get to meet Mr. Bone. I liked Mr. Bone. Um, the diner scene. Oh yeah. So they basically all know there are cameras, and
Hmm.
they try to act normal, and it's clearly not normal, and it's funny. I had a good laugh.
Yeah, wow, that better than anything in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad got to see more Mr. Bones finally.
Yolanda, great character as usual. Like, she stands on her own feet. She listens to her mother. She protects her mother by not telling the truth, and she also shows some growth because in season one and two, she used to follow what her mother was saying. Like, she didn't really wanted to do so, but that's her mother, you know? And here in this episode, even if I didn't like the mother, I liked Yolanda standing her ground and saying, no, I do what I want. I'm old enough, you know? That's to show us, the viewer, she has changed. And she is becoming someone else, you know? And I like that a lot. So this is what I'm talking about when I say these writers, they know how to write characters. So why the mother doesn't get the same treatment? Do they have mommy issue or something? um, Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but there is a darker color to the staff when Sylvester is using it. It used to be a yellow flash, really bright yellow, but now it's more of a darker tone. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed it. Yeah.
So we go back to one of my theory. Sylvester corrupting the staff and the staff corrupting him back. Now for me, after seeing that, I'm like, it's crystal clear this will be a plot for later on. Like, they didn't change the lightning for nothing. I know they have purpose behind that. Um, I also thought Sylvester telling everyone to act normal was funny, and we just have Rick looking at the camera saying, "I see you," and that was funny. And I suspect Mr. Bone or whoever is watching the cameras was actually sleeping at the time. I think maybe. Um,
I think he was.
yeah. Then there's the blackout, and he wakes up and he goes mad and crazy. Uh, the cafeteria scene where Rick just blow up things to showcase his strength. This uh, this comes to him having anger issues due to the hourglass not having any limiter anymore. And it's very interesting because at first I was like, maybe he will become power angry, but now he's just angry. So I was not that far. I wasn't that far, and I didn't add the right theory on the spot, but I wasn't that far. I liked Rick flipping, and it's very interesting because based on that episode, we can tell the hourglass just elevates what's already inside of you. Because Rick already had a temper in the past. He was already like some angry kid in season 1. And in season 2, he kind of healed from it, and Eclipso put him back where he was in season 1. I don't know if you remember season 1 and 2 well. Like,
I remember it well enough, but mainly certain like aspects of it in the story, not as much like overall.
Rick in season 1, everything was about revenge and his temper, and
Mm-hmm.
his character arc was to forgive Solomon Grundy. And this also lifted the anger issue he had in season 1. Because in season 2, he get to know better Solomon Grundy, and he realized he can be friend with the monster that killed his parents. And that was part of like the character arc where he has Solomon Grundy just another victim among many from the Injustice Society, and they were able to connect. And in season 2, at the end of the season, Eclipso messed up Rick mind, and Rick Darker Side took over again, and he went back to his season 1 self when he fought the fake Solomon Grundy, and he basically sent his uncle to the hospital, you know? So that was amazing. And then with season 3, we pick up um, with a Rick that has kind of healed from that, but the anger is still somewhere there. Like you could tell with his exchange with Cameron after Cameron snapped at a teacher, and you can also tell with Rick after lifting the limiter, because now he's basically smashing walls and stuff. So the hourglass really like drive his anger further, you know. So I feel like we have the Rick from season one. He is back right now, and it's because of the hourglass corrupting him, and I think it's very interesting. Um, yeah, another Pat and Courtney great scene where Courtney doesn't know if she really wants to be Stargirl anymore, if she needs to be, and Pat is like, "Are you sure you don't need to be like Stargirl anymore?" And I think that scene was really touching, and I liked it a lot. Then we have Shade coming, my favorite character from season two. He's back, and he wants Courtney, not the staff. And I do think that was very interesting because this season tells you that there's more to Courtney than just Stargirl. And I like that a lot. Because this is something every superhero need. They need their own character outside of their superhero counterpart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Also, sorry if I take a little bit to respond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I
fine.
know what you mean.
Like,
Yeah,
if we like Superman so much, it's because Clark Kent just want to be normal, you know?
true. Also, I will say, do you think Starman's gonna die eventually?
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
it's crystal clear. Either he will die or he will turn into a villain because of the
Yeah,
staff corrupting
do
him.
you think he'll die as a villain or he'll sacrifice himself or both? Maybe he'll turn into a villain in this season and then if they have another season then he'll like
I think he's dead by the end of this season.
mhm.
I don't think they will. If they have a fourth season, I don't think he will be back. What I think will happen, maybe he will turn into a villain, but then he will sacrifice himself to not.
Well, that's what I think. I think he'll if they have a fourth season, he'll turn into a villain by the end of this season, but then in season 4 he'll turn have some good left in it and sacrifice himself, you know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They said uh, there's some kind of closure at the end of the third season because they were not sure if they had a fourth season, so they still closed off most of the stories. That's also why I think he is dead by the end of the season. There's no way they will bring him out. Well, maybe we are both wrong and he will remain good, but I think it's obvious he will be one of the big bads at the end.
I think, and plus, I mean, there haven't been too many villains so far, so Cameron and him being it would make sense.
Yeah, and so far, like even when Shay left, he's like, if I leave, it's because of Sylvester, you know. And the staff is no more colorful. It's now a darker yellow instead of the bright yellow we used to have.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of airing. Now, Yolanda going at Courtney house and saying, "I know we are not on the best term, but like I have nowhere else to go," and I think that was touching because even if she acknowledged the issue she has with Courtney, like she still considers Courtney her friend, and this is very interesting and touching, and at the same time, it's realistic, I think, because even when you have conflict with
Hmm.
your good friends, like if you value them, you will try to fix things and you will still try to go over it, you know? Um, Now, Sylvester, as usual, he's doing great job. Jenny, I actually forgot where I marked down Jenny. There was a funny scene. We also get Barbara, Mike, and Yolanda. I actually forgot that scene. And there was also an emotional scene. Oh yeah, when Shade and Pat sacrificed themselves to take the hit to save um, the kids, and they were then sent to the Shadow Realm or the Shadow World. I forgot the name of the other dimension. Um, Rick, again, he is going nuts. And I actually forgot the cliffhanger of that episode. Oh yeah, they are in the Shadow Realm. Yeah, that was the cliffhanger. But the whole investigation of the experiment they are doing at Elix, because I think that's the name of the place where they hold Jenny Brother prisoner. I think that was a very interesting part of the episode. Um, yeah, I cannot wait for this week. Episode 8 will be amazing because it's part 2. And I think part 1 so far was a blast. And that's also the shortest episode the entire series had. And I think that's interesting because they didn't
Hmm.
add stuff that wasn't needed, you know? And that's really good.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to fill 40 minutes if you don't have enough material for 40 minutes. It's fine if you do
True.
38. Like, I'd rather have 38 minutes than a full 40 if you added two scenes that didn't matter, you know?
Exactly.
Okay. Um, what would be the grade you would give to this episode?
I would give it a 8.5. Not as good as like some of them, but still enjoyable.
Yeah. I gave a 9.7 out of 10. So this is in
Ooh.
the middle because based on my notes, there are two 9.5 and there are two tens and two other 9.7. But among the 9.7, it's the weakest. I think that week was still very good for me, but
Yeah.
um, that's a 9.7, man. For me, it's a lot, you
Yeah.
know. There are actually three tens, so this means there's only one other 9.7.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember giving the first two episodes were, yeah, I remember giving tens, and then there was another one I gave a 10.
Yeah,
There, yeah. And then there was yeah, a 9.5, two nines, and then two other 8.5s. So yeah.
we have similar stuff.
Yeah.
So, um, any closing thoughts on episode 7?
No, that's about it.
What do you expect from episode 8?
Uh oh, was this called episode 8? I thought this was episode 8.
No, that was 7.
Uh
8 is
I
today.
lost the count. Yeah, I lost the count thing, so I thought it was for some reason 8, and yeah, okay, but damn, I don't know, just I just want another scene with Mr. Bones. That's all. That's all.
You really wants to see Mr. Bones, right?
Yeah, I want to see him more because again, I don't know if there'll be a season 4, and they were saving him till the end, so I want as much as possible near the end. But yeah, because
So
all the others I'm satisfied with right now. They're getting the perfect amount of screen time. It's just him now. I hope they dive into a bit more now. But yeah,
I think we'll get to know who is the murderer soon. Uh,
probably. But
yeah, either this week or next week. Uh, yeah, that's funny because on one of the streams I've seen, they were basically saying maybe it's the brother that basically killed the people because of the monster inside of him, and maybe they monitor Blue Valley to keep track of where the monster is. So I like that theory a lot. That sounded like a great theory for me. And yeah, I think uh, there's nothing else to add to Stargirl. Stargirl is a blast. I think among all of the shows I've seen coming into a third season, I think this is the strongest third season I've seen. Uh, yeah, I just don't remember any other show with a third season that was that good. The closest thing I know when it goes to third season would maybe be Black Lightning third season, but even there, I still think Stargirl did it better. And I may shock
Mm-hmm.
you, but Supergirl third season was actually really good, but it's not as good as Stargirl, obviously, because it's Supergirl and the writer
Yeah.
and. But
Yeah.
that was a really strong season. Like, if the
Yeah.
entire show was like that with Supergirl, the show would have been better and people would
Mm-hmm.
not laugh at it, you know. But yeah, the other third season that come close to this is really Like Lightning third season come very close to this for me, and maybe Legends of Tomorrow, but even there, Legends of Tomorrow third season is much weaker than that. So yeah, third season, man, it's really hard to make a good third season
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh
usually,
yeah, and they had that curse for a bit.
yeah, usually like you have strong foundation with your first two seasons, except if you're called Supergirl or Batwoman, but
Yeah.
um, like usually shows they have strong foundation with season one and two, and they go off the rail like after the third season, you know. But I think like Stargirl is the exception because season one and two were amazing, strong foundation, but the third season was able to fully benefit from these two really good starts, you know. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what happened next, and I know for a fact once the season is over, I will rewatch it at least once to fully like enjoy the trip, you know. Actually, when I think about third season, Gotham had a somewhat good third season, but Black Lightning did it better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Legion as well, but Legion is
Yeah.
far, so I can't
I
fully
mean,
remember.
Gotham, the first couple seasons are and the third season, it. Oh, actually, never mind. I forgot. Yeah, you said you rewatched it, and the season three wasn't. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just done watching the third season, and I started the fourth season. The third season was a blast. I have a few issues here and there,
Oh.
but
Okay.
it was much better than season
Yeah.
three.
Okay. So you came around to it. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you can add that with Stargirl, but
yeah,
yeah, it's just the thing that shocks me the most again is that yeah, this Stargirl season three was like probably the riskiest season going into it. So,
yeah. They
but
had
yeah,
so
they.
much, like they could
Hmm.
scroll. They could mess up fast, but they didn't so far.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, Gotham third season. I enjoyed it, and now I'm into season four, and I have a few issues, but I'm only three episodes in so far with the fourth season, and
Hmm.
I think the fourth season will be a weird one based on what I remember. Anyway, I mean, where are you with Gotham's second season right now?
Yeah, still where I was at before. Season two, episode three. Didn't continue, last week for reasons I said before. But yeah,
Yeah,
maybe I'll have the time this week. I should, but I should, but yeah. I don't know, but
yeah. Uh, anyway, man, I think I had a blast today. Did you have a blast?
yeah, this definitely was had some issues today again, but this definitely was pretty enjoyable. So yeah. I will say though, what's your opinion on James Gunn being now the new head of DC, basically?
I'm worried. Uh, I'm
Well,
worried.
I'll say I'm just happy that it wasn't Zack Snyder.
I'm worried because I don't want everything to be turned into a comedy. Uh, it's DC. I'm fine with some property being more light-hearted.
Mhm.
I'm a huge
Well, I will
Stargirl
say
fan.
he has done films before that were pretty dark, like Sliver. He has done dark stuff. I mean, he likes his edgy comedy, but I don't think like again he'll just be he knows like the tones at the right times. Like that's he did help like produce and make Black Adam because before it was publicly announced he was doing that with Black Adam and he's doing it with other ones right now with darker tones. So I think he does know, I think that stuff, but yeah, hopefully he doesn't go too hard with the ones that doesn't need it. Like Shazam and the Suicide Squad are good for like the edgy comedic
Yeah.
stuff, but others probably not as much.
Like
Like probably.
Peacemaker, I'm fine with it being funny because Peacemaker was really funny in the first season. I don't know if you have seen it.
Oh no, I've seen it. I yeah, it's yeah, loved it actually. Definitely would give it like an 8 out of 10. Then Doom Patrol an 8.5, and that would be my favorites out of the DC EU TV shows.
That's funny because I liked more Peacemaker. Peacemaker, I'm done with the
Mm,
first season. I think Doom Patrol, I stopped after like 8 episodes because I felt like most of it was filler. It didn't feel like a
I
story
see.
I wanted to follow from start to
Mm,
finish. And yeah, that's just me. And Titan is coming
yeah.
soon.
Oh God. Uh, fucking kill me. Okay. Okay. Well. But yeah.
But I'm worried.
With,
Look,
with, with Peacemaker, I'll say I didn't have any flaws with it really. Well, actually, sorry, that's dumb. I do I have other ones I was thinking of. Yeah, I mean, they definitely some of the jokes they dragged on for too long, and
yeah,
it, yeah, definitely, and some other things. But for the most part, though, I don't have like flaws like on a filmmaking, technical acting aspect or all that. Just like personal stuff like the humor and stuff. But besides one thing, and that was just now again, the film and the show, the cast around him and everything, and the character being good, elevated him to being solid, competent. All right,
yeah.
good enough. All right, but nonetheless, him as an actor and his performance, yeah, John Cena is by far the the worst part of the whole show, and yeah, that's my one issue with it. And yeah, besides that though,
I really hope James Gunn will be able to surround himself of good, creative people. Because
not Zack Snyder.
if he's alone leading the boat, and he has good ideas for sure, but if he is alone in charge, well, there will be some kind of downfall at some point because he won't be able to be original. Everything will follow the same formula, the same scheme, the same structure, and it will feel like Marvel all over again. So you need good creative people around him to like suggest stuff and to build story together. So it's not always
Hmm.
the same thing. And I like the fact that they found someone in charge. Like that's a good thing, but that person in charge need to take it seriously. Like if he mess up, like at that point people will just give up on DC. I say people and I include myself because I really want DC to shine. I'm more of a DC guy. Like my favorite comic book TV shows, most of them are DC. Like I think Marvel, the best IP they had was Daredevil, and it's because of the Netflix show. It's not because of the MCU. And outside of that, man, I'm a big DC guy, and I'm very open minded. Like I really want to like Marvel, but the thing with Marvel, it feels the same over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
And it
Fair
also
enough, but yeah,
it also feels like Marvel doesn't take any risk anymore, and it's kind
yeah,
of
no,
sad.
they don't take any risks. It's dumb, but yeah. And the people who defend it are just, I don't get it. It's like I understand for a profit thing, but we're talking about film qualities here, and for film qualities, a I'm sorry, you can take a little bit of risks and still keep enough of the same formula where it won't fall apart and you'll still make your money,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
but improve the things because again, like sure you don't want to like mess up a formula if you have it and it's working for you profit wise, but when it comes to film quality, I mean, you can work around it a little bit until or just give somebody a little bit more freedom until because the thing is with MCU for me, they with all their films they hit like a certain bar where the most I ever give one is like a 7 or 8 out of 10 because they just hit this bar because of the restraints where that's the case and because it's like they're not even making art. It's like they care more about like making stuff that's like the equivalent of like stage plays or like you, you know, where they just like look in the camera and are like, okay, please laugh, and just yeah, they just care more about like fan service stuff and laughs instead of, and then you look at something, even though I have an issue with like Matt Reeves, like. I think his ideas are good and how he puts stuff together is good, but that definitely his like direct in style with his camera work. I have some issues with a lot of issues, kind of, but and I think he's kind of carried by a cinematographer and cast and everyone. But nonetheless, yeah, like the bat. Then you look at the Batman. It's like that's clearly like a film that's also just yeah genuinely trying to be an artistic, amazing film possible. Like you look
Yeah,
at the cinematography, you look at just the story, the performances, everything all together, right? But then you look at something like fucking Thor: Love and Thunder, and it's like there's this, or it's like or like fucking I'm sorry, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and it's like outside. It's like outside of some shots with the pretty visuals here and there that's then also kind of ruined by the ugly MCU CGI these days.
yeah,
Is there really any of that in there?
yeah.
I don't think so.
Um, I agree with you. Matt Reeves as Vision, and I think this is why the Batman was so good for me, because it felt different than any of the MCU stuff, and it also felt different from other DC stuff because that movie was very long, but it didn't felt long for me. So I did like a lot Matt Reeves doing what he did, and I just hope James Gunn has vision for himself, you know, because he's in charge now. You need vision. If you don't have vision, you're only into a bad path, you know. Um, so yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's about it.
Here again, thank you very much for coming. Are you still available next Monday, the same time as usual?
Uh, um, okay. Well, here's the thing. I would say yes, but I'm looking at the calendar and yeah, I don't know like what streams will be planned for that day and other with other people because yeah, it'll be October 31st, but yeah, other times
Mm,
like on the 29th with Pickle stream and then
maybe,
yeah,
maybe Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific time.
maybe yeah that might be better. I don't know. I'll let you know. Like remind me again like in Twitter DMs on like
Okay.
on Sunday or something, and then I'll let you know by then, but or something like that. But
So either it will
yeah,
be Monday or Tuesday.
yeah, basically.
Okay,
I also, yeah. Oh yeah,
and
Ryan. I also,
I will message you Saturday.
yeah, I guess message Saturday, yeah, or Sunday. That would be
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Uh, Here again, thank you very much for coming. I had another blast this week. Uh,
Mhm.
Two Red Blue Pod for one. Um, Thank you again. You're a great co-host, and
Yeah.
we have great time each week. And yeah, I hope guys and girls enjoy. Uh, like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff. And we will have the next Red Blue either on Monday or Tuesday, depending on schedule. With that being
Mhm.
said,